friend need an ambulance?
I just think he's thought of. What's really weird, ma'am, just because I'm scared, I don't know what it is. They put a noose around his neck. You know, they didn't do anything with it, put it around his neck. That's really up to me. Sorry for saying it like that.
That was the 911 call that started it all, and it ended up in being charges against Jussie Smollett. He was found guilty today in a verdict out in Chicago of 5 of the 6 counts against him. Each count up to 3 years, but we'll see what actually happens here. So we posted the verdict and got your reaction on social media. We begin with our 13th juror comment of the day, coming from Carrie, who says, awesome. Hopefully the sentence is a decent amount of time. People like him are the reason people are so divided. He should be working to end the divide and not make it worse. Renee Hill, what's a good sentence for Jussie?
You know, this is a really hard one, Vinny, because the judge is going to look at him as this figure, right, that's out there. He's in the entertainment world, and they like to make examples of people like that. But they need to look at him as a regular person, a regular individual, and sentence him accordingly. If he were not in the public's eye, if he were not an entertainer, would he get a significant amount of jail time over charges like this, or would he get probation? I think probation would probably be suitable in this case, but whether he gets that is going to be a different story because of the stature that he has in the public eye.
So all of a sudden, it's no longer an advantage to be a celebrity in court. It used to be back in the old days, right? Ask Beretta. All right, Mike tonight. I hope they consider it a hate crime and make an example out of him. Carmen Rowe, what are your thoughts about what he was convicted of, what he went through? He took the stand and testified. Does that end up getting held against you at sentencing if you testify and the jury ends up not believing you?
Sure, absolutely. It's part of the deliberation process to decide what the right punishment is. But let me say this about that. As a criminal defense attorney who represents individuals who are sometimes falsely accused, it is infuriating to know that there are people out there who make these false allegations, who have other people arrested, who lie about what those people did, and there are no consequences. It's very unusual that you can get a prosecutor to actually pursue charges in situations like this, but I think it's everything because, again, this is a person who made a false allegation, who accused 2 other people who were arrested at the behest of him, his lies. So, I think that it's a situation where he undermines true victims out there. But most importantly, from my perspective, he really, really makes this process something that's much uglier than it needs to be by lying about and accusing somebody of something as serious as these allegations.
Robin tonight, I agree with the verdict, but this entire thing was a terrible waste of resources. Now, that could be read a lot of different ways, the waste of resources. What resources were wasted here, Molly?
Well, one of the most interesting things about this case to me, Vinny, was the fact that, don't forget, District Attorney Kim Foxx decided to dismiss this case, right? It only came back once they opened up an investigation and appointed Special Prosecutor Dan Webb. So, I don't really know what angle Robin is taking, but if anybody is really angry and upset about Jussie Smollett, what he did, how he took the stand, don't forget that we had a prosecutor that knew, the facts and the circumstances and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss it. Now going forward with trial, does that require resources? Certainly. But by the time his case was dismissed the first time around, they had already spent so much money investigating this case, and it was already a waste of resources. So, I think some blame has to be given to Miss Kim Foxx when it comes to this one.
I'll agree with you there, for sure. Andre tonight. I said in the beginning, he should have paid the $100,000 and been done with this. Could have went on with his life, regained his career, and continued working by fighting the city. You have no win. Basically, the city got too much evidence. I'm just saying, says Andre. Are you surprised at all, Renee, that this wasn't resolved with some sort of guilty plea? The charges weren't serious. He has no record. And, the story was ridiculous. It was below zero. Yeah. It's 2 a.m. You're going to Subway, and there just happens to be 2 Trump-supporting MAGA hat-wearing men walking around with a noose just looking for Jussie, and they actually, these MAGA hat-wearing people are fans of Empire?
I agree with you, Vinny, that this case should have been resolved. It certainly shouldn't have gone to trial. And if I recall correctly, I think there was, it was either the dismissal or there was an ACD, an adjournment in contemplation of dismissal.
It was just dismissed,
with
yeah.
some community service or something. It was something very minor, and I don't believe it involved acknowledging any guilt. It should have been done. It should have been handled that way, in my opinion. I don't think it should have gone to trial. He put himself at risk, and now there was a conviction, and he's going to have to deal with the consequences of the sentence.
Stang, he'll get probation and some community service. He's not going anywhere. Carmen, how about a little restitution as well, right? Criminal courts, a judge can order restitution if someone's been harmed here, like the city.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's not common, not here in Texas anyway, but it's absolutely something that can be ordered, and it probably should be in this case. Again, I find this to be offensive. I know it's not a big deal, relatively speaking, but it's a big deal. And I think this guy is the kind of guy that would never have made a deal early on. I mean, my God, he lied about this whole thing. That is the craziest story, as you pointed out, that we've heard in a long time from a well-respected, talented actor. So, no, I think he gets what he deserves. I think he'd be lucky to get probation with a whole lot of restitution. Sounds pretty good to me.
And Molly, isn't the problem here not only, Chicago, there is so much crime to begin with, right? That other crimes, you need those resources to investigate those crimes, right? So he reports this fake crime, that's a problem. And then the other problem is when someone is actually the victim of a hate crime, people will look at their claims a little more skeptically.
Yeah, listen, Chicago, a lot of crime and a lot of corruption. I will say that. And you're right. I think my concern here is that this, I agree with Carmen. Like, it is incredibly offensive to criminal defense lawyers. I serve on the board of the Georgia Innocence Project. I hate the idea of somebody being falsely accused. And it concerns me that I think Jussie Smollett really valued being a victim, like, to some extreme level. And I'm concerned that maybe a lot of members of society these days are kind of into that. And from the criminal defense perspective, it is problematic when you create false victimhood simply because it's going to garner you more fame, more respect, more of a salary. I don't know. But we have to move away from that. You should only be a victim if you actually are one. And
Absolutely.
We shouldn't reward people for seeking that.
But I think we have a word for people like that. It starts with an M. Millennials? No, only kidding, millennials. Millennials are good. All right. Renee Hill, Carmen Rowe, Molly Palmer, thank you so much. Appreciate your time, your expertise.